Hello! Let's go in again, shall we? A little after 11. Said I'd be on at 11, so yeah, kind of on time. A couple of minutes late. Right. What are we doing now? It's always imagined after that big speech that you'd be in space, like flying at this moment. You're not. If you look outside, you're actually just there. You're not. You could go straight back out to the Citadel if you wanted. You haven't even left yet. So, let's leave. Sure you're already sick of this tune after the pre-stream? I do say, with that mass relays, it's not really Mass Effect, is it? Let's be honest. Alright, Presley, you do your thing. There you go, that's more like it.
Commander, something you need?
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet, if you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
I can't have you on this ship if you're going to infect my crew.
Infect the crew? Oh man, you have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? Okay, I've got Froelich syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
I was just thinking how much you remind me of Santa Claus.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
I need to know more about this Froelich syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures, hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
You're not going to break a bone trying to fly the ship, are you?
I don't fly with my feet, Commander, so I'm fine as long as I'm in this chair. I gotta be real careful when I get up to take a piss, though. I can do my job as well as anyone on the ship. Better, actually. So don't worry about it.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
The Joker always does have a bit of a chip on his shoulder as going through the game, and you can kind of understand why. A lot of people have been, I'm not expecting very many bugs, but, this is kind of ridiculous. What's going to happen if I talk to him? Oh no, he's down here.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
I'm in charge here, Presley. I decide if we have non-humans on this vessel.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
This is bigger than humanity. Saren's a threat to every species in the galaxy, and I'll welcome anyone who wants to help me bring him down.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were at Elysium during the Skillian Blitz. A massive fleet of alien raiders hit the colony, trying to wipe it out. They had the numbers, but their ships were no match for an Alliance frigate. It was a slaughter. We couldn't even keep track of how many ships they lost.
How'd you end up on the Normandy?
I got my officer's commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, sir.
That's the thing, I just got Renegade points for that, just for being short with him. And that's great, because, you know, I was actually calling him out on his, like, pseudo-racism there, but being, like, quite, you know, aggressive about it, and that's fine. The game gives you Renegade points for it. In modern BioWare, though, modern BioWare wouldn't let you be, it wouldn't even give you a choice to do anything there. It would just be like, Shepard would just be like, don't be racist, it's bad to be racist, it's bad, don't be racist. It's like, yeah, alright, stop fucking preaching. I mean, I know, I am a human, I know, you know. But yeah, you know. All BioWare were actually quite in-depth with them, things like that.
Anything you need, Commander?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
I don't see how we could have done things any better. At least not without getting to Eden Prime sooner. And we were on the scene faster than any other Alliance ship could have been.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
Yeah, so, Kaiden, everybody has a go at Kaiden. He is aggressively boring, though, I will say that. You know, and I don't think people are being overly harsh when they say that. He is absolutely aggressively boring.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted right out of med school. Earth always seemed boring to me. Too safe, too secure. I figured the colonies were teeming with exotic adventure. I wanted to travel the stars, tending the wounds of tough soldiers with piercing eyes and sensitive souls. Turns out military life isn't quite as romantic as I'd imagined. But humanity needs the Alliance if we want to keep expanding through the Traverse, and the Alliance always needs good doctors. So I stayed on to do my part.
Ever think you made the wrong choice?
Sometimes I think about opening a private practice back on Earth, or maybe taking a position at one of the new med centers out in the colonies. But there's something special about working on soldiers. If I left the Alliance now, I'd feel like I was abandoning them.
How well do you know the Lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record, over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, most biotics now use the L3 implants. Lieutenant Alenko was wired with the old L2 configuration. Sometimes there are complications.
What kind of complications?
Severe mental disabilities, insanity, crippling physical pain. There's a long list of horrific side effects. Kaiden's lucky. He just gets migraines.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Alright. So the amps are things that are implanted into your head when you have biotic powers. I don't know what they actually do. I think that they direct where your powers go and what they do, but I'm not too sure. Come on.
Hey, Commander. Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance. I have to purchase it myself, and it's not cheap. Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
What do the different manufacturers offer?
There are too many for me to keep track of, but each license will explain what it's good for.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
None of this stuff I can afford. Wonderful. I can actually sell most of this, I think.
Looking for supplies?
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
So... This is your first look at a mass relay. No, not a mass relay. A drive core.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tally? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tally, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Fill me in on the IES stealth systems. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Why doesn't it work with faster than light travel?
Cranking up the FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed, and she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Oh.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
The Normandy's a prototype. Cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla. Grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
I should go.
See you later.
I'm not going to dump all of the exposition in this single video. I think that's going to be a bit too much to go through. But I do think the characters are so well written. Like, say in Dragon Age and stuff, I've got to like talk about how I interpret the characters and what they say and what they don't say. I mean, again, as I said before, this is probably one of the best stories I've ever come across for introducing someone to a world and a setting, to be honest with you. So it requires very little explanation.
Nice ship you've got, Shepard. What can I do for you?
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
You Krogan live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
They tried the same with us, but we fought them off.
It's not the same.
It seems similar enough to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
You're still here. It can't be all that bad.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
I was just making conversation. I wasn't trying to upset you.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us. but it's not what's killing us.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected. Every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist? You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
So, yeah, that's the thing about the setting with the Krogan is that it's actually quite controversial at the time it came out because obviously it's a sterility plague. So, but it also gives you all the information that you need to make an informed decision right there and then. One thing I didn't like about the way the genophage is portrayed is that in the story is that all the information you've just gotten here in basically the opening chapter is essentially all the information you're ever given. Okay, you never find out anything more about the genophage than what you do here in this opening gambit of information that you're just given by Rex there. That's all you actually ever learn about it is, you know, it's infected this entire race. 1 in 1,000 people are able to have kids. You know, but it's also the Krogans. It's also their own fault that they're dying because if they just acted like normal people, like you know, who weren't trying to murder everybody all the time, then they would be surviving no problem. It's the fact that they don't do that. That's why. Unfortunately, you know, as the Solarians say later on, the Krogan only have. The Krogan are able to have thousands of children very, very, very quickly. You know, they can go from 10,000 people in a population to having something like, you know, 10 million in a couple of years. You know, it's ridiculous the way that they can grow, and that they're stronger and more powerful than everyone else. And so they basically have to be neutered, or the entire galaxy will just be, you know, crushed under the heel of so many Krogan. But that's all the information you're ever given, you know, to make your decision. So you can actually make a decision on the Krogan right now. It doesn't really matter whether you go into the second or third story. You could actually do it right now. And, you know, the only thing that you are given is more of a perspective talking to different Krogan and different people who've gone through, like, the rebellions and all that. But anything else, basically, you know, is what it is.
Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit?
Yes, sir. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
The answer seems plain enough to me. Be more alert.
Aye, aye, Commander. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Do you have a few minutes to talk one-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duty squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Dismissed, Chief.
Sir.
If you're nice to her there, you say, oh no, they get the perfect ambushers, they don't even breathe. She's like, they have flashlight heads. It's really like...
Thanks for bringing me on board, Commander. I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Have you worked with a Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
Being a Spectre does have its advantages.
Exactly my point. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it. But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. C-Sec's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
You did the right thing. Life's too short to sit around waiting for things to happen.
Yeah, you're probably right. Either way, I plan to make the most of this. And without C-Sec headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
As long as you do your job well, you're free to go about your business as you see fit.
Thank you, Commander.
That's probably how I'd run it, to be honest with you. Oh, wrong way. All right. Oh, there's 34,000 people living here. Okay. So we'll have you and you. So welcome to the Mako.
Commander, I'm picking up some strange readings. Really strange, like off the damn charts. It looks like it's coming from an underground complex a few clicks away from the drop zone.
So yeah, the Mako is a famously unstable piece of technology in this game. As you can see here, it's very unstable. Like that. It's perfectly possible to roll it so you can't get back up. So yeah, famous for its bugginess. One thing that Andromeda did get right was the Nomad on that. It was very much like this, but it was a lot better the way it handled. Hey. Love jumping over the projectiles.
Only a fool punches a knapsack in the mouth. We should sneak around and pull its tail.
I don't know why he didn't just say that. head on in here, shall we? Jesus Christ.
That's it. Bag him and tag him.
Literally killed me without a second thought there. Boom. There's another one over there somewhere. Oh no, it died. Okay. Get the hell out of here. I actually don't think the parts where the Mako is in the game are that bad, to be honest with you. I think sometimes they could really stand to turn it down a little bit, but, you know. Like, it should be an accessory to what you're doing rather than the entire mission, you know. Similar to how the, isn't it the Hammerhead? Can't remember what it is. There's a floating tank in Mass Effect 2 that's actually quite... Firewalker, is it? Yeah, I think it's something like that. Where the mission's interplaced with using the Firewalker and actually doing your own thing. Which I quite like. Whereas this is just constant, you're in the Mako, you're in the Mako, you're in the Mako, and then you're not. You know? It's just like... But, you know, it's the first game in a series. You gotta, you know, appreciate that there's gonna be... You know, there's gonna be, teething problems. I have tried to get over this time and time and time again. It is impossible as far as I'm concerned. Let's save it there, because this can be quite difficult, isn't it? Boom. Alright, let's try it. Alright. No. I have seen someone do it once, but you kind of got to glitch over it, you know? Yeah, screw it. Screw it.
lost shields!
Okay, where's that coming from? Well, not time.
Lost shields!
Get in. Seriously? It's annoying. Like, why didn't... It's when it just disregards its own rules. That's when I draw the line with these things. Nah, you cover doesn't count this time. It's if you did that on a tabletop, like if you were sitting there on a tabletop and you just said to a player, "Oh, your cover doesn't count this time because of blah 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 reasons," they'd be like, "Yeah, that's bullshit." Yeah, they would be seriously justified in calling your bullshit if you did that to someone in a tabletop game. I'm telling you now.
Over there.
Lost shields!
You are kidding me? What the hell is hitting me now? Yeah. Yeah. And do you know what? You can't even load quickly. Christ almighty, I tell you what. No wonder it's got a reputation of being so clunky. You don't play for ages and you think to yourself, maybe it's not that bad, and then you get here and it's like, oh yeah, it is really bad. Game, let me...
I've lost shields!
I love how my shot didn't go through the gap, but his massive rocket did, you know. Can't save here. What a fucking surprise. Leave now. Yeah, very annoying. Very, very annoying. Great.
Lost shields!
Kidding me? Why are they not being punished for like just coming straight at me? Another one? Another one? You're just impervious? Thank you. Okay. Right. Get in cover, you.
Lost shields!
No, just go there. Oh, fucking. You know what? Get in cover. It's the fact that he just stands there. He just stands there. You're like, how bad is that? He just stands there. Yeah. Just... Yeah. Really terrible. Really, really terrible. I fully understand why people. Well, normally when I see things like this, they're playing it on a casual, and I understand why now. Because the actual clunkiness of it, the fact that he does a power and then just stands there in the open. It's absolutely ridiculous. And now you've got to sit through it again. Are you fucking joking me? Are you absolutely taking the piss? They must have been really in love with this. Yeah, great, we know. Come on. Yes, marvelous. Okay, yes. Can we play now? Thank you. Thank you.
Lost shield!
Oh, for fuck's sake! Yeah, look at him. Look at him. Just walking over. Just walking over. Not a care in the world, just walking over. Pathetic, man. It really is. I don't think boss fights are very good when the only level difficulty is literally the fact that you lose patience. That isn't.
Lost shields!
What? How is he hitting me? Either cover works or it doesn't. It doesn't just have plural rules where you can have it or you don't. It's just ridiculous. Do anything. standing in fucking... I'm standing... Absolutely pathetic. I'm rapidly getting sick of this now. I might just turn the difficulty down, because this is not well made at all. Combat in this game is just... I'm standing in cover, look. I'm standing in cover. It's fine. I'm standing in cover. Right. Right. Standing in cover.
Lost shield.
Now I'm standing in cover, yeah. Standing in cover. And I've been hit. I mean, either cover works or it doesn't. This is pathetic.
Lost shields.
Yep, lost shields again. Absolute pathetic. It isn't fun. I get why. Do you know one thing I've heard about combat is that it's supremely dated even at the time this game came out. This is combat from like the mid-90s, where people were like, it's games, you can't take it too seriously. Whereas games at this point have come to the point where Half-Life 2 had come out and all these other games which were its armor's already, its shields are already back. I'm standing in cover. I mean. So he chooses to, it just hits he misses, it hits the ground anywhere near me, and it's pathetic. That's it. You're witnessing me turn it down, because I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this with it. It's absolutely fucking retarded. Maintain. I'm not doing that all night, that's ridiculous. That is just, it's not even difficult, it's just annoying. It's just annoying. It's poorly made, and I have got to sit here through the whole thing again. Do you know what I mean? Fuck off, I'm not listening to it. You got to sit here for the entire thing again. Awful. Because normally I do go through this on casual, and I thought this time I'd just go, do you know what? Let's do it on normal. Let's just see what the whole fuss is about, because I do turn it down because it's that clunky. It's just hard. It makes a difficult game absolutely insufferable. Not difficult, but you know what I mean. Like it makes a normal game look slightly challenging. Is this bugged? Is this actually bugged? Like I'm standing in. I wasn't even close to the edge that time. I'm standing inside the thing, and it just... I think there's something wrong with this. Like, I'm standing right in the middle of the fucking box, and it still does it. Like, if I go anywhere more in, I won't be able to shoot. Like, the combat will never end, because I'll just sit there and never die or never kill anything. Come on. Come on. Yes, okay. Oh, adrenaline pumping. Point blank there. You want to explain why? What am I getting hit by? What am I getting hit by? Thought it was going to kill me again there. I don't think this has actually changed the difficulty at all. That is ridiculous.
All targets down.
Like, the combat is that clunky. Like, it either... Any power you do, you end up standing outside here. Like, I come out, I have done the power. I'm still standing here, and then he comes back in. It's almost like the game is saying, no, you did the power, so now they get to shoot at you for a little bit. It's like... And the fact that he's not hitting you, like he's missing you, it hits the ground anywhere near you over there, and you immediately die. Absolutely ridiculousness. It's just... In 2, I wouldn't mind, because the combat's actually quite fluid, but when it's this clunky, and this unresponsive, it is pretty much unplayable when you get to that stage. So unfortunate. But these games as they were back then, I suppose. It's very annoying when you're going through it and you're like... Yeah, with a full rocket, that kills you in one hit. Look at it. Sometimes I do think, like... You actually want me to see this story, don't you? One thing I've noticed is that when you are running games yourself and you are like making sure everyone's having a good time and things, is that when you come across things like this, you do realise how ridiculous it is for them to turn up the difficulty so much. It's like, yeah, it's the first planet I'm coming to while I was playing the game. Do you want me to play it or not? Because you're doing a good show of saying the word no at the moment. Come on.
Heads up!
Oh, for God's sake, again? I recognise that when you die, it turns the difficulty back up again. Because, you know, I don't know why it does that. But this is getting silly. This is getting very, very... I bet him right at the start I am. This is pathetic. This whole thing. Absolutely pathetic. They spawned right on top of you with a rocket thing. Look, watch, he's not there right now. And he will just spawn in. Yeah, there you go, he spawned in. And he'll have his rocket, yeah. There you go.
Up.
Why does he have that? Right there, why does he have that? Then you get to the drones and they've got rockets everywhere. And they just appear. They just come straight up, bang, dead. That's not difficulty. There's a difference between, you know... It very much is now that I'm playing it on this difficulty, it is playing like... Can we go down here? I can't. It's playing like a game from a developer who's developed their first game, essentially. It's playing like somebody who doesn't know what difficulty is. Instead of actually giving you difficulty and saying, okay, yeah, cool. You know, the enemies are going to get harder. It just spawns things right on top of you with rocket launchers and says, yeah, there you go, that's difficult. No, it's not. It's annoying because I don't have any... If you don't give the player a chance to defend themselves, that's not difficulty. That's just a reload. They'll reload and they'll know that's coming now, so they'll survive. That's not difficulty. That's not immersion. And it really irks me it's still in games today. It's still in games today, unfortunately. Sometimes. But then there's really difficult games like Metro, for instance, that aren't like that. They're actually, you know, really well made. Look, now I know they're coming up. One down. Two down. Three down.
Sterile white. Protheans sure build things, homie.
So, as you just said, you know, Exhibit A there. Yeah, that's not difficulty. That whole thing was not difficult. It was just a reload button. It's like, yeah, go back, reload. You've elected that you are going to die now, so you need to do this all again. It's ridiculous. Things like Metro, for instance, and even like Dragon Age, you know, the difficulty there, the enemies were difficult, and you had to work out how to beat them. And if you couldn't work out how to beat them in a certain time, yeah, but they would probably end up defeating you, and that's fine, because then you'll learn, you'll come back, and, you know, Whereas with this, it's just like, no, you're dead. Reload.
Hello? Could somebody help me? Please?
Can you hear me out there? I'm trapped. I need help.
Quit shouting. This place is crawling with Geth.
Sorry, I am a little... Look, my name is Dr. Liara Tassoni. I am an archaeologist. Listen, this thing I'm in is a Prothean security device. I cannot move, so I need you to get me out of it, all right?
Your mother is working with Saren. Whose side are you on?
What? I am not on anybody's side. I may be Benezia's daughter, but I'm nothing like her. I have not spoken to her in years. Please, just get me out of here.
How'd you end up in there?
I was exploring the ruins when the Geth showed up, so I hid in here. Can you believe that? Geth beyond the veil! I activated the tower's defenses. I knew the barrier curtains would keep them out. When I turned it on, I must have hit something I wasn't supposed to. I was trapped in here. You must get me out, please!
Any suggestions on how we can help?
There is a control in here that should deactivate this thing. You'll have to find some way past the barrier curtain. That's the tricky part. The defenses cannot be shut off from the outside. I don't know how you'll get in here. Be careful. There is a Krogan with the Geth. They have been trying different ways to get past the barrier.
One other thing is that I don't like it when games have a party of 3 or 4, and the party can go down as much as you want, but if the main character goes down, it's game over. That shouldn't be the case.
No sense standing around.
Charged and locked.
It should really be your control goes to the other characters that you want.
Perimeter secured.
Decryption skill too low. Decryption skill too low, okay. Marvelous. Funny thing is, if you look at this laser over here, 1 second, once we get there. For God's sake, why isn't there a sprint button? If that looks like Reaper tech to you, that's supposed to, because it is the Reaper laser. Okay. You'd think that would make much bigger noise, and there's no way I'd be standing in front of that just after it's gone off.
How did you get in here? I didn't think there was any way past the barrier.
We blasted through with the mining laser.
Of course. Yes, that makes sense. Please, get me out of here before more Geth arrive. That button over there should shut down this containment field.
Funny thing, if you can do these missions in any order, and if you do Liara last, then she's like delirious with hunger and like thirst.
Any idea how we get out of this place?
There is an elevator back in the center of the tower. At least I think it's an elevator. It should take us out of here. Come on! I still cannot believe all this. Why would the Geth come after me? Do you think Benezia's involved?
Saren's looking for the conduit. Think fast, Miss Prothean expert.
The conduit? But I don't know...
What the hell was that?
These ruins are not stable. That mining laser must have triggered a seismic event. We have to hurry. The whole place is caving in.
Joker, get the Normandy airborne and lock in on my signal. On the double, mister.
Aye, aye, Commander. Secure and away. ETA 8 minutes.
Gonna be close, Skipper.
If I die in here, I'll kill him.
A bit, you know, Navy where he says on the double, mister. It's like, I'm willing to bet that if you die here, you've got to do all that conversation again.
We don't have time to deal with this idiot. Charge!
I like your attitude.
What's hitting me? What the f- Ow! Again, will you stop? Will you stop ignoring the cover that's in the game? Why is cover in this game? Why? Why is cover a thing? What's the point? If you can just go right next to me.
I still cannot believe it.
Saren's looking. What the?
Joker!
I cannot believe it does this. Why does anyone play on anything but casual? Like, do not ignore your own rules. That's I cannot stand things that do this. And you can't skip another boss introduction. Brilliant. Wonderful. Oh, for fuck's sake. Can't even skip the dialogue. Pathetic. I can skip every other piece of dialogue. Get on with it. Yeah, several bullets just don't connect there. That's fine. Whatever. Alright, I only shot him like 5 times, but you know. Where the fuck did he go? Not enjoyable, that part, I'm telling you now. Yeah, I think I will turn it down in future parts, because that was getting really... The clunkiness of it, it only really shows up when you turn it up in difficulty.
Too close, Commander. 10 more seconds we would have been swimming in molten sulfur. The Normandy isn't equipped to land in exploding volcanoes. They tend to fry our sensors and melt our hull. Just for future reference.
We almost died out there, and your pilot is making jokes?
Sometimes Joker's a real ass. Just try to ignore him.
I see. It must be a human thing. I don't have a lot of experience dealing with your species, Commander. But I am grateful to you. You saved my life back there, and not just from the volcano. Those Geth would have killed me or dragged me off to Saren.
What did Saren want with you? Do you know something about the conduit?
Only that it was somehow connected to the Prothean extinction. That is my real area of expertise. I have spent the past 50 years trying to figure out what happened to them.
How old are you exactly?
I hate to admit it, but I am only 106.
Damn! I hope I look that good when I'm your age.
A century may seem like a long time to a short-lived species like yours, but among the Asari I am barely considered more than a child. That is why my research has not received the attention it deserves. Because of my youth, other Asari scholars tend to dismiss my theories on what happened to the Protheans.
Did your research turn up anything interesting?
What is interesting is what I did not turn up. There is remarkably little archaeological evidence of the Protheans, and even less that might explain why they disappeared. It is almost as if someone did not want the mystery solved. It is like someone came along after the Protheans were gone and cleansed the galaxy of clues. But here is the incredible part. According to my findings, the Protheans were not the first galactic civilization to mysteriously vanish. This cycle began long before them.
Where'd you come up with this theory? I thought there wasn't any evidence.
I have been working on this for 50 years. I have tracked down every scrap and shred of evidence. Eventually, subtle patterns start to emerge, patterns that hint at the truth. It is difficult to explain to someone else. I cannot point to one specific thing to prove my case. It is more a feeling derived from a half-century of dedicated research. But I know I'm right, and eventually I will be able to prove it. There were other civilizations before the Protheans. This cycle has repeated itself many times over.
What cycle? What are you talking about?
The galaxy is built on a cycle of extinction. Each time a great civilization rises up, it is suddenly and violently cast down. Only ruins survive. The Protheans rose up from a single world until their empire spanned the entire galaxy. Yet even they climbed to the top on the remains of those who came before. Their greatest achievements, the mass relays and the Citadel, are based on the technology of those who came before them. And then, like all the other forgotten civilizations throughout galactic history, the Protheans disappeared. I have dedicated my life to figuring out why.
They were wiped out by a race of sentient machines. The Reapers.
The Reapers? But I have never heard of. How do you know this? What evidence do you have?
There was a damaged Prothean beacon on Eden Prime. It burned a vision into my brain. I'm still trying to sort out what it all means.
Visions? Yes, that makes sense. The beacons were designed to transmit information directly into the mind of the user. Finding one that still works is extremely rare. No wonder the Geth attacked Eden Prime. The chance to acquire a working beacon, even a badly damaged one, is worth almost any risk. But the beacons were only programmed to interact with Prothean physiology. Whatever information you received would have been confused, unclear. I am amazed you were able to make sense of it at all. A lesser mind would have been utterly destroyed by the process. You must be remarkably strong-willed, Commander.
Okay, this isn't helping us find Saren or the conduit.
Of course, you're right. I am sorry, my scientific curiosity got the better of me. Unfortunately, I do not have any information that could help you find the conduit, or Saren.
I don't know why Saren wanted you out of the picture, but I think we'll be a lot better off if we bring you along.
Thank you, Commander. Saren might come after me again. I cannot think of anywhere safer than here on your ship. And my knowledge of the Protheans might be useful later on.
And her biotics will come in handy when the fighting starts.
We've already got every other non-human species on board. Might as well add an Asari to the team.
Thank you, Commander. I am very grateful. Oh, I am afraid I am feeling a bit lightheaded.
When was the last time you ate? Or slept? Dr. Chakwa should take a look at you.
It is probably just mental exhaustion, coupled with the shock of discovering the Prothean's true fate. I need some time to process all this. Still, it could not hurt to be examined by a medical professional. It will give me the chance to think things over. Are we finished here, Commander?
Go see the doctor. The rest of you, dismissed.
Mission reports are filed, Commander. You want me to patch you through to the Council?
Patch him through, Joker.
Setting up the link now, Commander.
We've received your report, Commander. I understand Dr. Tassoni is...
I assume you're taking the necessary security precautions.
Liara's on our side. The Geth were trying to kill her.
Benezia would never allow Saren to kill her daughter.
Maybe she doesn't know.
Or maybe we don't know her. We never expected she could become a traitor.
At least the mission was a success.
Apart from the utter destruction of a major Prothean ruin. Was that really necessary, Shepard?
I don't need this.
Communications cut, Commander.
So just a quick aside there before we go any further, because I will be back tomorrow to do some more. Yeah, I've always played this on casual, and I play the others on normal to hard, because the others are the combat in this is famously very clunky. It's not very good. But I've never really got that criticism because I played it on casual. So basically, even if it is clunky, you know what I mean, it's forgiving enough that you can just work around it. Playing it on normal now, and we started on hard, we went down to normal. Yeah, that's really frustrating. That's so frustrating to play, because normally if you get killed in the game, you know why it's happened. In this, it's not the fact that you've done anything wrong exactly. It's just because it said no. The rules of cover don't apply to you right now. It's like, well, okay, why? You're very slow to start firing. You're very slow to get back into cover once you've finished firing or firing off a power. Things that shouldn't hit you because you're in cover worm their way around the cover to hit you somehow. And yeah, very, very frustrating. So we'll be going back to casual, just so cause I'm mainly interested in the story, and we'll play the rest of the series on normal to hard. Because I don't want to be getting frustrated like that in every single session, so I apologise for that. But at the same time, I think you can see where I'm coming from. It is extremely frustrating in that the fact that it is not so much balanced, but it's not what's the word? It's just very, very, very clunky. It's very rough around the edges, and it tends to disregard rules. And again, with the drones there, I think there are certain parts of the game where it just nopes you and says, no, you're dead. Like, okay, look, do I get to? No, you're dead. Reload. That's not immersive, and that's not difficulty. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Difficulty is, you feel like you've been killed. You feel like you've lost. Because the computer just outdid you this time, but now you've learned, you'll come back and you'll be okay. You won't lose immersion doing that. Being killed off in an RPG when you've had absolutely no chance whatsoever. Being killed off in an RPG when you feel like it's been taken way out of your hands and it's literally just noped you out of existence. That's jarring, and it's really bad for immersion. Pathfinder Kingmaker did that quite a lot, in that you'd be coming up against things that were like 17 levels above you 2 minutes into the game. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So next time we'll be doing casual, and we'll be sorting out that way. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.